You take your vitamin B12 in the morning, just like you've been told. It's supposed to support your energy, protect your brain, and keep your nerves healthy. And for many people over 60, it feels like one of the safest habits you can have. But here's what most people never hear. There are seniors doing this exact same routine every single day and unknowingly increasing their risk of serious health problems without feeling a single warning sign. No pain, no dizziness, nothing that tells you something is wrong. That's what makes this so dangerous. Because the problem isn't the vitamin itself. It's what happens when B12 is taken alongside certain common medications, combinations that millions of older adults are already using without realizing the effect inside their bodies. In this video, you'll discover two widely used drugs that should never be casually combined with B12, what actually happens when they interact, and how to protect yourself without giving up the benefits your body still needs. And once you understand what's happening beneath the surface, you'll start looking at your daily supplements very differently. Because the real issue isn't what you see, it's what's happening inside your body that standard checkups often miss. Inside your body, there's a process happening every day that most people never think about, but it plays a key role in how your heart and blood vessels stay healthy. And vitamin B12 is deeply involved in that process. B12 helps your body manage certain natural compounds in the blood. When everything is working properly, these compounds are processed and cleared without causing any harm. But when this system is disrupted, those compounds can begin to build up, and that's where the problem starts. Because this buildup doesn't cause immediate symptoms. You won't feel pain, dizziness, or anything obvious. Instead, it begins affecting the inner lining of your blood vessels slowly over time. A simple way to picture it is this. Healthy blood vessels are smooth and flexible. But when this internal balance is disturbed, they can gradually become irritated and less flexible, making it harder for blood to flow the way it should. Now here's the part most people are never told. This process is highly sensitive to how your body uses B12, and certain medications can quietly interfere with that process without you realizing it. And in this video, we're going to break down two very common drugs that can disrupt this process, starting with one that millions of older adults take every single day for blood sugar control. Medication number 1. Let's start with the first drug, and this one is extremely common. It's called metformin. If you have type 2 diabetes, there's a very high chance you're taking it right now. Millions of older adults rely on it every single day to control blood sugar, and on the surface, it seems completely safe. But here's what most people are never clearly told. Metformin doesn't just affect blood sugar. Over time, it can quietly interfere with how your body absorbs vitamin B12. And this is where the problem begins, because B12 doesn't just get absorbed automatically. It depends on a delicate process inside your stomach and intestines, almost like a delivery system that helps it enter your bloodstream. Metformin slowly weakens that system, not overnight, not in a way you can feel, but gradually over months and years. So what happens next? Your doctor checks your blood, sees your B12 is low, and recommends a supplement. So you start taking B12 every day, maybe even higher doses, and for a while, your blood levels may look better. But here's the hidden issue. Even though you're taking more B12, your body may still not be absorbing enough of it properly, and when B12 absorption is disrupted, that internal process we talked about earlier begins to break down. Instead of being cleared, certain compounds in your blood can slowly start building up, silently. You won't feel it, no warning signs, nothing obvious, but over time, it may begin affecting your blood vessels in ways that increase long-term risk. Now think about this. You're taking a supplement to protect your health, but your body may not be absorbing it the way you expect. Here's a situation that might sound familiar. Someone has been on metformin for years. They begin to feel slightly more tired, not extreme, just a steady drop in energy. So they start taking B12 thinking it will help, and it should. But if absorption is already affected, that extra B12 may not solve the real problem. And that's what makes this so easy to miss, because everything looks normal on the surface. But metformin is only part of the story. Before we go further, please take a moment to like this video and subscribe to Senior Revival, where simple changes can lead to a powerful, healthy comeback. There's another medication, even more common, that affects B12 in a completely different way, and for many people, it makes the situation even more unpredictable. Medication number 2. Now let's talk about the second drug, and this one is even more common than metformin. Millions of older adults take it every single day, often for years, without thinking twice about it. These are acid reflux medications commonly known as PPIs, drugs like omeprazole, pantoprazole, and similar medications. They're used to reduce stomach acid and relieve symptoms like heartburn, acid reflux, and stomach irritation. And in many cases, they do exactly what they're supposed to do. But here's what most people are never told. Your body actually needs stomach acid for something very important. It uses acid to break down food and release nutrients, including vitamin B12. When you eat food that contains B12, it's bound tightly to proteins. Your stomach acid helps separate B12 from those proteins so it can be absorbed. But when acid levels are reduced for long periods, that process becomes weaker. And over time, your body may begin absorbing less and less B12 from food. So what happens next? Just like before, people are told to take a B12 supplement, and again, it seems like a simple solution. But here's where things become more unpredictable. Because when stomach acid is constantly reduced, B12 absorption doesn't just decrease, it can become inconsistent. Some days your body absorbs a little, some days it barely absorbs any. And that inconsistency can quietly affect the same internal process we talked about earlier. Now imagine this. You're taking a medication every day to feel better, and at the same time, your body is slowly losing its ability to properly absorb a key vitamin. Here's what makes this even more concerning. Many people take these medications for years without reevaluating them. What started as a short-term solution quietly becomes a long-term habit, and during that time, small changes inside the body can begin to build up. No pain, no obvious warning, just gradual imbalance. And when this drug is combined with B12 supplements, the situation becomes even more complex, because now you have reduced absorption from food and unpredictable intake from supplements happening at the same time. And that's when the real problem begins to take shape. Because even though everything may look normal on the surface, the deeper issue is something most people never get tested for. What makes this situation truly dangerous is not just what's happening inside the body, it's how easily it goes unnoticed. Most people trust their routine blood tests. If the results come back normal, it feels like everything must be working properly. But the issue we're talking about doesn't always show up in those standard results. You might even see your B12 level looking perfectly normal, especially if you've been taking supplements regularly. And that creates a false sense of reassurance, because on paper, everything looks right, but underneath, the balance may already be shifting. In some cases, this involves markers like how your body is actually using B12, not just how much is present in your blood. So someone may hear, your B12 levels are fine, and assume everything is working properly, even though the body may still be struggling at a deeper level. Normal results don't always mean optimal function. It looks normal on paper but behaves differently inside the body. And because this deeper layer isn't usually checked unless specifically requested, most people never realize anything is off. So the imbalance continues quietly. No alarm, no clear warning, just slow changes building over time. And this is where it becomes even more deceptive. Because your body does try to send signals, just not in a dramatic way. You may notice your energy isn't what it used to be. Not extreme fatigue, but a steady drop that doesn't fully improve with rest. You might find that you tire more easily, or that your usual energy never quite comes back the way it used to. Focus may feel slightly off, tasks may take more effort, but nothing feels serious enough to raise concern, so it's often explained away. It's just age. I didn't sleep well. I've been busy, and because the symptoms feel manageable, the underlying issue is rarely questioned. That's how this pattern continues. Everything feels normal, while something deeper is slowly developing in the background. But once you understand what's happening, the next step becomes much clearer. Because this isn't about stopping B12. It's about learning how to take it the right way so your body actually benefits from it. Now that you understand what's really happening, the next step is simple. Not to stop B12, but to start using it more intelligently. Because B12 is still important, especially after 60. It supports your nerves, your brain, and your energy. The goal isn't to remove it. It's to make sure your body is actually benefiting from it. And that starts with a few simple checks. The first thing to look at is your medication routine. If you're taking medications like metformin or long-term acid reflux drugs, this is where the conversation needs to begin. Not with fear, but with awareness. These medications may be affecting how your body absorbs B12, and that changes how you should approach supplementation. The second thing is the type of B12 you're taking. Not all forms behave the same way in the body. Some require extra steps before your body can use them, while others are already in a more active form. And as we age, those extra steps don't always work as efficiently as they used to. Then comes the dose. This is where many people unknowingly go wrong. It's easy to assume that more is better, especially when something is labeled as a vitamin. But with B12, taking very high doses doesn't always mean better results. In some cases, it simply means more circulating in the blood without solving the underlying issue. What matters more is balance. And finally, there's one step that can bring everything together. Asking your doctor the right question. Not just, are my levels okay? But is my body actually absorbing and using B12 properly based on the medications I'm taking? That one question can completely change the conversation. Because once you shift from guessing to understanding, you start making decisions that actually protect your long-term health. And sometimes, all it takes is one real example to make this even clearer. Because what you've just learned may already be happening to someone very close to you. A man had been taking vitamin B12 every morning for years. He's in his early 70s, very disciplined with his health, walks daily, follows his routine, and takes his supplements seriously. He was also on medication for blood sugar and occasional acid reflux. To him, everything seemed under control. His reports looked fine, his routine felt right. Nothing seemed out of place. But over time, he started noticing something small. His energy wasn't the same. Not extreme fatigue, just a steady drop. He would say things like, "I just don't feel as sharp or as active as I used to." And like many people, he assumed it was just age. So he kept doing exactly what he believed was helping him. Until one day, after a more detailed discussion and a deeper look into how everything was working together, it became clear that something wasn't fully aligned. Not because he was careless, but because no one had explained how his medications and B12 might be interacting over time. A few simple adjustments were made, nothing extreme, just smarter choices. And within a couple of months, he started feeling the difference. More steady energy, better clarity, more like himself again. That's what most people miss. It's not about doing something wrong. It's about missing one small detail in something you've been doing right for years. Small habits can quietly shape your long-term health. Now think about your own routine. Is there something you might be missing? Also, share your experience in the comments below. I personally read every comment. We're building a community here to support your strong, healthy comeback. If this helped you, I'd truly appreciate a like and if you subscribe. Also share it with someone you love. And join me in the next video for another simple step toward better health.